I struggled a lot at the beginning of the patch 12.1. It felt it became harder to play Flex since the assassins became dominant again while Urgot, their best counter, got destroyed by this nerf. So I decided to play a bit differently. I got highly inspired from this new Chinese meta around innovators and chalices that Kuro Steiner, sorry if I don't pronounce it correctly, was talking about on Twitter a few days ago. After theory crafting a bit and trying out in Ranked, I can tell that the results were pretty good. Today, we're going to talk about how broken Chalice is on two different combs I claned with. And fortunately for you, not many people are aware of the synergy between a specific item and a trait, and I'm going to discuss about that at the end of the video in the one more tip section. Let's talk about the three main conditions in order to win with either Heimerdinger carry with Scholars or 5 Innovators with Seraphine carry. The first win condition is Chalice. This item has been buffed, and now if you do quick math, you know that 2 Chalices is almost equal to 1 Rabadon on 3 different units. This goes very well with AP hungry combs such as Enchanter, which scales a lot with AP, Arcanist and Scholars. This also changes the way we approach combs. Usually, we play around 1 hyper carry and a side carry, but with Chalices you are building at least 3 super carries. You won't see Seraphine dealing 10k damage, but instead you're going to see Seraphine, Orianna and Heimerdinger dealing 4k damage each, while providing a lot of shield and healing. The second win condition is Chalice as well. Since it provides so much AP, you are no longer tied to play Arcanist if you want to have AP carries. In fact, your team and carries are much more flexible, and you can decide to play Heimer carry, Seraphine carry, Orianna carry, Malzahar carry, Lux carry, Victor carry, and pretty much anyone who deals AP carry, even Lissandra if you want to. We're going to talk about that a bit more in the next sections. Finally, for the third win condition. What? You thought I was going to say Chalice again? You thought this video was sponsored by Chalice in Borderlands? Well, I wish it was, but let's talk about the real third condition. Chalice! There are two main combs that use the full potential of Chalice right now. The one is directly coming from the Chinese server with Innovators and Seraphine, Orianna and Heimerdinger. Normally you play with 5 Innovators, but obviously if you can, you try to chase the 7 Innovators, it's just that it's not going to happen every time. The idea is that if you manage to find a tanky Jace, even with 5 Innovators, this comp is strong enough to claim a top 1. What's really important to understand is that Seraphine is not going to solo carry your fights. Instead of playing with a hyper carry like Lux, Victor or even Jhin, you are playing with at least 3 carries, Seraphine, Orianna, Heimerdinger, and sometimes even Jace and the Dragon if you manage to have it. The other variation is the one I theory crafted, and I absolutely love this because Heimerdinger carry with 6 Scholars is a monster. This requires you to have a Scholar Heart, Augment or Scholar Emblem to achieve it, but if you can achieve it, oh boy, the fights are not even fair. Imagine having a Gatling gun, but instead of shooting bullets, you shoot rockets while the rest of your team is constantly healing, shielding and stunning. Well, that's your Heimerdinger squad. If you want to have the cheat sheets on both combs I personally made, you can find it on Tactor. The link will be in the description and you can have access to a lot of information for free. Alright, let's talk about the items. Chalice. Okay, let's talk about the items for real this time. Besides the Chalice, there are other items you want to have if you play 5 Innovator Seraphine. Ideally, you want to keep 1 tear and 1 sword to make Shojin on her, then you can follow this tier list to know what's good for her. I put Rabadon higher tier than Archangel Staff, not because it's significantly better, but because you already use so many tiers for Chalice and Shojins, and because of that you will not find a single 1 tier left for Archangel Staff. For Heimerdinger, even if you play 6 Scholars, the blue buff is still the best item on him. But don't worry, you can still play him without the blue buff as long as you have 6 Scholars. If you have only 4 Scholars, then you absolutely need to have a blue buff. For his other beast item, you can check this tier list. If you have at least 2 Chalices, then I suggest you to play damage amplification item like Giant Slayer, but if you have only 1 Chalice, then it's good to have at least 1 AP item like Rabadon. The reason I decided to show you 2 combs in this video instead of 1 like I usually do is because I wanted to highlight the flexibility that Chalices offer to you. So let's talk about the 2 common early game examples. These examples are great for beginners, and then I will follow up with other examples which are great for any high level players who are hungry for flexibility. If you play the Seraphine carry comp, then the obvious start is with Innovators. The idea is to start playing with defensive item on your Singed and put only one tier on Israel to make use of the scrap synergy. If you can't find a 2-star Singed and Israel, then don't push level 4 and rather try to make Econ with the Lost Streak strategy. If you manage to find your 2 stars, then play aggressively and try to snowball hard by following this Econ pattern. If you want to play the Hammer carry with Scholar, then it's usually easier to access it with a Yorder start. Just like any Yorder start, it's better to use the Lost Streak strategy and get to 50 gold as fast as possible without spending a single gold into XP. Okay, now let's talk about the other good early starter with chalices. You wanted flexibility? I will show you flexibility. Here's a sample of many early starters you can get with Chalice. Ideally, you want to snowball and create the strongest board possible while maintaining a good econ. Look for your 2-star units, look for good synergies and snowball the game with that. For this part, I will do exactly like the early game. I will give you 2 main examples which are easy to follow, then I give you tons of examples of mid-game comps which can be great with chalices as long as you have good synergies and your units are 2 stars. If you have a start with Innovator and have your first chalice already, it will be important to roll at level 6 in stage 3-2 in order to find Hammerniger and another Scholar. Obviously, if you manage to have +1 Innovator with the augment in 33, then the stage will be very easy for you. Otherwise, focus on building your econ back after stabilizing your board in 3-2, because in 4-1 you will want to push level 7 and roll until you have 20 gold to find the 5 innovators. All your innovators should be 2-star except Seraphine. I have done the math and you should find her after 15 roll on average at level 7 if you're not contested. And if you roll 20 times, you have 75% chance to find her, assuming again she is not contested. However, when you roll and you have only 20 gold left and you still couldn't find Seraphine, but instead you found all the other innovators at 2 stars like Hammerdinger 2, then you have 2 options. Either you win the fight at 4-1 and 4-2, so it means that you're already stable and you can build back your econ to push level 8 later and to find your late game units. But if you lose the 4-1 and 4-2 fights, it means you are not stable enough and you need to commit to roll until you find Seraphine. Yes, it sucks, but it's low rolling, and when you are low rolling, what you need to do is just to try to save your game and try to not become 8th. Now for the other scenario with Yordle. You probably had a lost streak in order to generate an insane econ, and now you're probably rich, but not that healthy. Hey, just like a boomer! It means you need to stabilize your board very hard at stage 3-2. At this stage, push level 6 and look for Hammerniger and Vex if you didn't have them already. And if you don't find her after rolling down all your gold,
yep.
once you stabilize your board, you can build back your econ quite fast with the win streak plus Yordle. Then you want to go for level 8 since you want to find Yumi as your last Scholar. Try to push level 8 at stage 5-1 and find the remaining 2 stars you're lacking like Janna and try to find 1 Yumi to have infinite mana. By the way, if you're not comfortable with the different leveling and econ patterns, then you can check this video in which I describe many different situations and milestones to achieve. Now let's talk about the insane amount of mid-game comps you can create with chalices and other different items. Again, the idea is to increase your flexibility, but don't forget to always play around your main synergies and your main 2-star units that you hit naturally. There is no point in playing Lissandra carry if you can't find Lissandra 2 or without Scholars or Chemtex. She is not going to be good enough, and this is the same for everyone else. Thank you for your awesome support lately. Please put a like if you found this video useful. It helps me to grow a lot, I really appreciate that, and it motivates me to produce even better educational videos. Now let's talk about another underappreciated item, Locket of the Iron Solari. It provides shields up to 5 units for 8 seconds. It sounds like scrap without the S, right? Well, there are some conditions which can make this item broken if they are met. First of all, if you have the Augment Ardent Sensor which provides bonus attack speed on whoever gets shielded or healed by any enchanter, then by all means slam a Locket on the enchanter. This item will proc the Ardent Sensor or the 4 units who receive the shield at the beginning of the fight. This can be abusively strong for any comps like Jhin, Assassins or Seraphine. What do you mean? Almost top players know already, you're wasting my time, I could have watched Soju making a bottom 8 already. Well, now let's talk about the other thing that not many people know. And I'm going to talk about the real strength of the Locket in any Enchanter comp. Let's show the world how degen we are. Enchanter provide magic resistance to the whole team and then gain more healing and more shielding. More healing and more shielding. More shielding. Do you get it now? Yes. An Enchanter with the Locket on it will boost the shield gain from this item. And this is extremely important to understand because enchanters can get easily outpaced by comps like Challenger or Assassin because they mainly die even before casting. Thanks to the Locket, they can tank the first wave of burst and generate enough mana with Scholars to start shielding and healing infinitely. This helps tremendously against the high-paced matchups like Challengers or Assassin. I also theory crafted this comp with my esport team. At first I was half trolling, but it turned out pretty good actually. Victor gets tons of AP and never dies thanks to the shield and healing. Instead, he gets infinite mana from tanking the damages. I don't advise you to spam this comp because I believe that this is very specific, but if you're courageous enough, by all means try it and have fun. Send me your screenshot on Discord. Alright, I hope this video gives you a lot of inspiration to play flexibly around Chalice that creates multiple carries instead of focusing on one single hyper carry. With that being said, let's see at the top of the ladder.